In a world that never stops, where every moment is filled with noise, distraction and endless movement, stillness has become a rare treasure. The mind races, the body follows, and the heart often gets lost in the chaos. Yet it is in the calmness, the pause and the silence that clarity, strength and true understanding emerge. Being still is not about escaping life, it is about stepping into the center of it, observing without being swept away, and discovering a space of presence that remains untouched no matter how fast the world moves. Stillness is not something that depends on external circumstances, it is a quality that arises from within. The world may continue to move with relentless speed, full of noise, obligations and distractions, yet the mind and heart can remain grounded if cultivated consciously. It is a choice to step back from the endless chase, to observe without being carried away, and to create a space where clarity and calm can flourish despite the chaos surrounding you. Cultivating stillness begins with awareness of the present moment. The mind often races ahead, worrying about the future or dwelling on the past, but by returning attention to what is even briefly, the storm within begins to settle. Conscious breathing, deliberate pauses, and observing sensations in the body act as anchors, pulling the awareness into the now. These small practices build the capacity to remain steady, even as the world continues its rapid pace. Stillness allows a shift from reaction to response. When the mind is quiet and centered, you can witness events without immediately being drawn into them. Challenges, conflicts and pressures no longer dictate your emotional state. Instead, you engage with life thoughtfully, choosing actions aligned with awareness rather than impulse. This ability transforms how you navigate daily life, creating a sense of control rooted in presence rather than external circumstances. Through stillness, clarity emerges naturally. When distractions are minimized and the mind is calm, insights arise effortlessly. Decisions become more precise, emotions more balanced, and understanding of situations deepens. The quiet mind is not empty, it is fertile, capable of perceiving the subtle patterns and connections that are often missed in the rush of activity. This clarity becomes a source of strength, guiding both thought and action with intelligence and purpose. Stillness also enhances relationships and interactions. A calm presence allows deeper listening and understanding, creating space for genuine empathy and connection. When you engage from a place of inner steadiness, others respond to your clarity and groundedness, and conflicts are navigated with less friction. Ultimately, stillness is not passive, it is an active force that enables thoughtful engagement, sustained energy, and a life lived with awareness, resilience and depth. Awareness is born in moments of quiet when the mind is free from the constant chatter and demands of the outside world. In silence, every thought, sensation and emotion can be seen clearly without distortion or exaggeration. The mind begins to notice patterns it had overlooked, the subtle movements of the heart become visible, and the truth of each situation emerges without the interference of judgment or fear. In these moments, the ordinary becomes extraordinary and the seemingly insignificant reveals its deeper significance. When the mind is quiet, observation replaces reaction. Most people move through life responding automatically to every stimulus, carried away by impulses, expectations and habitual judgments. Stillness interrupts this cycle, creating a space in which you can witness events as they unfold rather than being swept along by them. This allows a deliberate response to arise from awareness rather than instinct, fostering clarity in thought and integrity in action. Silence sharpens perception. In the absence of noise and distraction, the mind begins to discern the essential from the trivial, the fleeting from the permanent. Emotional turbulence settles and clarity takes root, revealing insights that are otherwise hidden in the clutter of constant mental activity. Awareness in stillness is like a light shining into a dark room, illuminating corners that were previously unseen and revealing truths that guide understanding and decision-making. Awareness in silence also deepens the connection with oneself. In quiet observation, one becomes intimately familiar with inner motivations, fears, and desires. The patterns that govern behavior are exposed, offering an opportunity to adjust, release, or cultivate them consciously. This self-knowledge is not merely intellectual, it is experiential, rooted in the direct perception of the workings of one's own mind and heart, leading to a profound sense of control and centeredness. Cultivating awareness through silence transforms the way you engage with the world. Actions become more deliberate, interactions more meaningful, and responses more measured. The ability to observe without distraction strengthens patience, discernment, and empathy, allowing one to navigate life with steadiness and insight. In the quiet mind, clarity and understanding emerge naturally, guiding every thought, decision, and movement with precision and presence. Inner stillness is the foundation of a mind capable of navigating life without being swept away by chaos. When the mind is calm, it is able to observe situations clearly rather than reacting impulsively or being controlled by fear and anxiety. This calmness is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of clarity that allows one to face difficulties with composure. It enables the mind to assess, discern, and act from a place of intelligence rather than agitation. A still mind cultivates resilience in the face of adversity. When turmoil arises, those who have practiced inner calm are able to maintain perspective and avoid being overwhelmed by emotions. The turbulence of the external world may be relentless, but the centered mind remains grounded, creating a stable platform from which thoughtful decisions can emerge. Strength grows not by avoiding difficulty, but by holding presence through it. Stillness allows the mind to prioritize what truly matters. In moments of rapid activity and distraction, trivial concerns can seem urgent and energy is wasted on what is inconsequential. By nurturing inner calm, one learns to separate the essential from the superficial, focusing attention and effort on actions that lead to meaningful results. This clarity of purpose enhances effectiveness in both thought and action. Inner stillness also deepens understanding of self and others. A calm mind is better able to perceive the dynamics of relationships, motivations, and intentions without distortion from personal biases or emotional reactivity. This awareness strengthens empathy and insight, allowing interactions to be guided by comprehension rather than impulse. It fosters patience, measured response, and thoughtful engagement with the world. The cultivation of inner stillness transforms the way life is experienced. Challenges are no longer threats, but opportunities to exercise discernment and presence. A steady mind navigates uncertainty with confidence, creativity, and precision, and decisions are made from a place of wisdom rather than compulsion. Stillness becomes a source of power, resilience, and clarity that remains unshaken no matter how rapidly the world moves around it. Being able to respond consciously rather than react impulsively is the essence of true presence. When the mind is agitated or distracted, every situation is filtered through fear, habit, or desire, causing automatic reactions that may not serve the highest good. Stillness creates a space between stimulus and response, allowing thought and awareness to guide actions. In that space, the mind is no longer a slave to immediate impulses, but a deliberate instrument of insight and choice. Presence over reaction strengthens clarity in perception. When we pause instead of reacting, we begin to see the full context of events rather than a fragment distorted by emotion. Patterns of cause and effect become clearer, and the motivations of others are easier to understand. This clarity reduces misunderstanding, prevents unnecessary conflict, and allows decisions to be made from wisdom rather than haste. Conscious response cultivates emotional resilience. In moments of provocation, a reactive mind magnifies anger, fear, or frustration, making situations feel more intense and overwhelming than they are. Stillness allows emotions to be acknowledged without being dictated by them, providing a calm and balanced approach. Over time, this practice builds a stability that is unshakable regardless of external turbulence. Presence over reaction enhances relationships. When we respond with awareness instead of reflexive reaction, communication becomes more intentional and compassionate. Misunderstandings are reduced, trust is strengthened, and deeper connection is possible because others feel heard, respected, and understood. The ability to remain composed creates an environment where mutual respect and empathy can flourish. The practice of responding consciously transforms the way life is experienced. Every challenge, conflict, or unexpected event becomes an opportunity to act with awareness and intelligence rather than being swept away by habit or emotion. Presence over reaction is not passive restraint, it is an active engagement with life from the center of clarity, allowing actions to be guided by insight, balance, and enduring strength. Detachment from external chaos is not an act of avoidance, but a conscious cultivation of inner stability. The world moves with relentless speed, full of noise, opinions, and pressures, yet the mind anchored in awareness can remain steady. By observing events without being swept away by them, you create a space where judgment, reaction, and emotional turbulence lose their grip. This does not mean ignoring reality, it means engaging with it from a place of clarity rather than being consumed by its momentum. When the mind is detached from external chaos, perception sharpens. Distractions, conflicting demands, and unexpected disruptions no longer overwhelm the senses or distort judgment. The mind begins to see patterns and possibilities that were previously hidden by distraction. In detachment, the noise of the world is filtered, allowing insight and discernment to emerge naturally, guiding actions with intelligence and precision. Detachment strengthens resilience. Challenges, conflicts and pressures are inevitable, but when the mind is centered internally, they no longer destabilize the heart or cloud judgment. Stability arises not from controlling the outside world, but from cultivating a calm presence that can face any situation without being thrown off balance. This inner anchoring transforms adversity from a source of fear into an opportunity for growth and self-mastery. Detachment also enhances relationships and interaction with others. When responses are not dictated by the chaos of external circumstances, communication becomes clearer, more intentional, and more compassionate. Observing events without being consumed by them allows one to engage from awareness, creating space for understanding, patience, and authentic connection. Others respond to this grounded presence, fostering trust and deeper connection. Cultivating detachment from external chaos ultimately leads to freedom and clarity. The world may continue to rush, but the inner center remains unshaken, providing a foundation for deliberate action, thoughtful decision-making, and emotional stability. Life is no longer a reaction to circumstances, but a conscious navigation guided by insight, balance, and a strength that is born from being anchored in one's own awareness. Conscious awareness of breath and body is a doorway to presence. When attention is drawn inward, the constant chatter of the mind begins to settle, and the awareness shifts from external distractions to the living reality of the body. The simple act of noticing the rhythm of the breath or the sensations in the body brings the mind into the present moment. creating an anchor amidst the rush of thoughts and events. This awareness does not demand effort or force, it simply requires attention and willingness to observe. Breath serves as a natural bridge between the mind and body. The pattern of inhalation and exhalation reflects the state of consciousness, and by observing or adjusting it, the mind can be calmed and centered. When the breath is irregular, the mind tends to be scattered and reactive. But when the breath is steady and conscious, clarity and focus emerge. This relationship makes breathing a powerful tool for maintaining presence in any circumstance. Bodily awareness reinforces this connection to the present. Feeling the sensations of the body, the pressure of the feet on the ground, the movement of muscles or the heartbeat draws attention away from distraction and into direct experience. The body becomes a reference point for stillness, a constant reminder that life is happening now, not in the past or future. Through this, the mind learns to be fully engaged in the moment without being pulled into worry, regret or anticipation. Practicing conscious breath and bodily attention strengthens resilience and composure. In moments of stress or chaos, returning focus to these tools allows the mind to regain stability and the heart to slow the pace of emotional reaction. This anchoring creates a space in which thoughtful response can emerge, allowing action to be guided by awareness rather than impulse. Over time, this practice builds an inner steadiness that is independent of external circumstances. Integration of breath and body awareness transforms the way life is experienced. Each moment becomes more vivid, each action more deliberate, and each perception clear. The mind anchored in breath and body no longer drifts uncontrollably but observes, assesses, and engages with life from a place of clarity. This conscious connection serves as a foundation for presence, insight, and resilience, allowing stillness to persist even as the world rushes past. Observing without judgment is the practice of seeing life as it is, without the interference of labels, expectations, or personal biases. The mind naturally seeks to categorize and evaluate, often turning experience into approval or disapproval, gain or loss, right or wrong. Stillness creates the space to witness what arises without immediately reacting, interpreting, or trying to control it. In this space, life can be observed in its raw form, revealing patterns, truths, and possibilities that are usually hidden by judgment. When observation is free from judgment, clarity begins to emerge. Every situation, every emotion, and every thought can be perceived in its entirety without distortion or exaggeration. By removing the lens of bias, the mind can recognize what is truly happening rather than what it fears, desires, or imagines. This clarity allows decisions to be made from insight rather than habit or emotional reaction, and responses become more measured and effective. Observing without judgment also cultivates equanimity. When the mind is not constantly labeling experiences as good or bad, it is less easily disturbed by external circumstances. Challenges, criticism, and uncertainty no longer provoke unnecessary anxiety or resistance. Instead, life is met with a balanced presence that can absorb difficulties without losing composure or perspective. This creates a steadiness that is not dependent on external conditions but rooted in the awareness itself. This practice deepens understanding of self and others. By witnessing thoughts, emotions, and actions without judgment, one becomes aware of habitual patterns and unconscious tendencies. At the same time, observing others without bias fosters empathy and connection, as people are seen as they are rather than through the filter of expectation or assumption. Relationships, communication, and social interactions improve naturally when observation replaces judgment. Observing without judgment is not passive detachment, but active awareness. It allows life to unfold fully while remaining fully present. providing the freedom to respond consciously rather than react automatically. Through this practice, stillness becomes more than quietness of the mind, it becomes the ability to perceive, understand, and engage with life from a place of clarity, balance, and inner strength, even as the world continues to move rapidly around you. Clarity of thought and emotion arises when the mind is not cluttered by distraction, fear, or constant activity. In stillness, the noise that usually clouds judgment begins to fade, and the underlying patterns of life, thought, and feeling become visible. The mind no longer reacts impulsively or becomes entangled in imagined scenarios. Instead, it perceives situations as they are. This clarity allows each thought to be examined, each emotion to be understood, and each action to be aligned with awareness rather than habit. When clarity is present, decisions are guided by understanding rather than urgency or impulse. The mind can evaluate options, consequences, and possibilities without distortion, seeing the path forward with precision. Emotions, while still felt, no longer overwhelm reasoning or distort perception. The balance between intellect and feeling strengthens, and insight emerges naturally as the mind becomes a mirror that reflects reality rather than a lens that colors it. Clarity also deepens self-awareness. In moments of stillness, the mind recognizes recurring patterns of thought, hidden fears, and unexamined assumptions. By seeing these elements clearly, one gains the ability to adjust, release, or cultivate them consciously. This self-knowledge is not theoretical, it is lived, experiential, and becomes a foundation for wisdom, enabling decisions and actions to be rooted in understanding rather than reaction. Emotional clarity enhances interactions with others. When the mind is calm and perceptive, responses to conflict, challenge, or misunderstanding are measured and conscious. The ability to recognize one's own emotional state prevents projection or distortion in communication, and understanding of others' perspectives improves naturally. Clarity allows engagement without being consumed by emotional turbulence, fostering empathy, connection, and effective action. Clarity of thought and emotion transforms the way life is navigated. Challenges become opportunities for discernment rather than sources of confusion. Decisions once clouded by distraction or emotional volatility are now informed by insight and awareness. In this state, the mind becomes a stable platform from which every choice, interaction, and action flows with intelligence, composure, and purpose, allowing stillness to guide life even as the world moves rapidly around you. A calm presence transforms the way we relate to others, creating a space where true understanding can flourish. When the mind is quiet and centered, listening becomes more than simply hearing words. It becomes an act of full attention, of being present to the other person without distraction or judgment. This depth of listening allows subtle emotions, intentions, and needs to be recognized, fostering genuine connection and empathy. Empathy grows naturally from stillness because it removes the interference of internal chatter and personal bias. When the mind is not consumed by its own reactions or preconceptions, it can sense the experiences of others more clearly. Understanding emerges not from assumption or analysis, but from direct perception of another state, allowing compassion to arise spontaneously. This awareness nurtures trust and creates a relational space where others feel seen, heard, and valued. A calm presence also prevents unnecessary conflict and misunderstanding. When emotions are grounded and reactions measured, interactions are less likely to be dominated by impulsive anger, frustration, or defensiveness. Communication becomes more intentional, words carry weight and clarity, and relationships are strengthened by the steadiness of one who observes rather than reacts. Others respond to this composure with ease, making collaboration and harmony more natural. Stillness allows patience to flourish in relationships. It provides the capacity to wait, to observe, and to respond thoughtfully rather than react immediately. In moments of tension or disagreement, the calm mind can tolerate discomfort without forcing resolution or imposing will, creating space for insight and mutual understanding to develop. This patience fosters long-term connection and mutual respect. By cultivating stillness within, relationships are elevated from surface-level interaction to meaningful engagement. Presence, empathy, and patience merge to form a foundation of trust, clarity, and compassion. The ability to remain calm amidst the chaos of life allows one to navigate human connections with intelligence and sensitivity, transforming every interaction into an opportunity for deeper understanding and authentic connection. Stillness is not the absence of action, but the foundation of true power. When the mind is quiet and centered, it becomes a source of strength that is independent of external circumstances. This strength is not violent or forceful, it is steady, resilient, and unshakable. In stillness, the energy that is usually scattered by worry, agitation or distraction is harnessed and focused, providing the clarity and composure necessary to act decisively and effectively. The quiet mind is a source of creativity. When mental noise subsides, space is created for ideas, solutions, and insights to arise naturally. Innovation and imagination flourish in the absence of constant interference because the mind can perceive connections, patterns, and possibilities that are otherwise obscured by chaos. Stillness allows the intuitive intelligence of the mind to express itself fully, transforming challenges into opportunities and generating actions that are aligned with insight rather than reaction. Stillness is not a pause in life, it is life lived fully from its center. When the world races past, those who cultivate inner calm navigate it with clarity, courage, and presence. The chaos outside may continue, but the peace within becomes unshakable, a space from which every action, thought, and word flows with intelligence and awareness. In stillness, life is not just endured, it is experienced deeply, completely, and powerfully.